I would walk down the road to school in the morning. On my way there, I would pass by several abandoned houses, buildings, and vacant lots of land. One of these buildings was surrounded by eerie-looking trees that had contorted limbs with claw-like branches. The property itself was overgrown with various vegetation. Equidistant of the trees was the abandoned church that must have been sealed up long ago, with several of the boards now which are dangling by a few rusty spikes. The church had an archaic look to it, with the entrance supported by pillars. The outer walls were occupied by vines, the roof encompassed by brownish-green moss. This church was forsaken by its parishioners long ago. The Adams Grove Presbyterian Church was built in 1856. It was erected in a Greek Revival-style architecture that emerged in Europe and the United States in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Adams Grove is located in Sodry, Alabama, a small city with only about 1,800 people living there today. Some people describe the church and connected cemetery as being unnatural. That even getting close to the area spurns feelings of uneasiness and fear. At least 4 entities have been confirmed to haunt this property. Let me tell you about some of these stories that have been heard about this church with adjacent cemetery. Some have seen what appears to be a man lurking around the church. In fact, it has also been known for sneaking up on unsuspecting visitors. In one such instance on a hot summer's day, a man claimed that a figure came right out of the church, and suddenly, as if the icy hands of death was squeezing his arm, it grew incredibly cold. When he turned around, he came face to face with the red-eyed entity. He described a eye as being redder than red that glowed like a small fire. He screamed and his friends came to help. He still experiences nightmares to this day from this encounter. Many tourists and ghost hunters alike make this claim that there is a Confederate soldier spirit can be seen browsing through the cemetery. He sometimes makes an appearance and yells at people to get off the property, while others stated he would chase them holding a rifle. He was believed to be a man just dressed up as a soldier until he dematerialized in front of their eyes. He has also made it a point to appear in many photos, not being seen at the time the photo was taken. The next entity appears right before a thunderstorm. Some people have claimed that it looks like a past minister of the church wearing a black suit and black gaucho hat will step out or suddenly appear on the porch, with his arms raised high in the air and yelling as if to be conjuring the storm itself. Thunder is heard and it starts to rain. The minister then fades away into nothingness from which it had came. A former church member says that one time the church was having a barbecue. He did not like sitting with a group of people, so he decided to find a private spot on the church grounds to stand and eat his food. He then noticed that the ground was raised up as if a large gopher was burrowing underneath it. Not giving it too much thought, he inched over out of its path, but it continued to move closer to him. So he turned around, now walking at a fast pace, and yet it still pursued, leading him right into the cemetery. As he entered, he felt a hand grab his ankle, which caused him to trip. Looking around, there was nothing. After this incident, he never returned to the church. During dusk in this place can be quite disturbing. People in these parts have said to hear a baby crying inside the church. If you walk into the church, the crying will stop, but as you leave this place, the crying will start up again. No explanation was given that I could find. I could only speculate that it is starving for attention, or something else. A Louisiana couple was visiting this church back in 1982. They saw what looked like a floating black cape with a red interior moving around the church. Neither one of them could not make out an outline of a person wearing the cape. The cape was dark black with a red interior. The wind seemed to move the cape around, and it was at the height as if a 6-foot invisible man was wearing it. As they watched this mysterious cape go around the church, it flopped to the ground down above a grave and vanished. They were very confused and can't explain what they witnessed. Strangely enough, the church was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1986. Today the church is owned privately, and the owners have chosen to keep it boarded up and inaccessible to the public. Some speculate it was because of the unnatural beings that seem to come from a once house of God. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear more content like this.